Hey, welcome back to Right on the Money. You are joining us, and by us, I mean my guest and good friend, Janet Pack. Janet, we're having so much fun today. We've been talking about Janet's book, and now we're going to talk about a very important part of the book, and that is where we talk a little bit about bringing our minds into how do we think about money. And you've broken down money a couple different ways that I think is very clever. And walk us through the first way to think about money. First, we've got a first little classification. Where do we go?
Okay, so let's talk about money. So we've got two types of money. So we could break it out into hope so and no so.
You have great penmanship.
I don't know why, but okay. Now let's talk about what kind of money goes in which category.
Okay, so where are we going first? Which one do you want to tackle?
Hope so.
Okay, talk to me about hope so. What does that mean?
Well, hope. We hope.
Mm-hmm.
We hope the money's going to be there, right? So that could be stocks, bonds, REITs, anything with big risk, ETFs, mutual funds. That's not ELF. So anything that doesn't have a base, you know for sure that it's going to be there.
Okay, so we're hoping on performance, and we're hoping that, well, although it looks like when I look at that, we're taking risks, but then we're taking those risks for rewards.
Yes.
Okay.
And of course, the higher the risk, the higher the reward.
Okay. So then, no so.
No so money. That's the money that we know without a doubt 100% is going to be there. So what kind of money would that be? Banks,
Okay.
CDs, insurance products.
Your penmanship is great.
Typically that's for income.
Okay.
And there are various other things, but that's the money that we are absolutely, for sure, 100%, that money's going to be there.
Now, reading your book, I see one that we need to add in there, Social Security.
Thank you.
And that, we were talking about inflation before. Didn't Social Security just have a big inflationary bump up?
Ooh, I don't know if I'd call that big, but yes, it did. It took a cost of living, which was 5.9%. And of course, we know inflation right now is capping around the 9% mark, so at least that's something.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got hope so, no so. And this is a great segment in the book because you really do, you go into detail on each one of these, the pros and the cons in there, which is really cool. So now that's the first way of thinking about money. So we line them up that way. Now we're going to jump over into what is called the rule of 100.
Okay.
So through television magic, I'm going to ask you to snap your fingers so we can erase the board. Okay, so we just looked at that first category, the hope so, the no so. And this in the book, your book does such a great job of walking down this path, putting the mind in the right mindset for thinking about money. The next thing that you talk about in the book is the rule of 100.
Okay.
Walk us through the rule of 100. And is it really a rule?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think it's a way to look at money that can kind of help you make decisions on where it might be best used.
Okay, like a rule of thumb, more like a
rule of thumb.
Okay.
That's big. And it's not exact, so it's kind of an overview. But let's say we took all of our money, so we got a bucket of money.
Okay.
Okay, and so we're going to say, what's my rule of 100? So typically, if you took the number 100 and you minused your age, which is 40.
Oh, okay, 40. Thank you. Wait, were we talking about me or you?
You.
Okay.
We'd have 60, right?
We'd have 60 left over.
Check my math.
I got it.
Okay. So if I were to look at this as my bucket of money, and I have a percentage that's at risk, and I have a percentage that's safe, by using this 100 rule minus my age gives me 60%.
Okay.
So really, I should or could have approximately, depending on your risk tolerance, about 60% of this. Let's see, would that be about 60?
Yeah, that'll work.
Bear with me.
That'll work.
So 60% of this money could be in a risk profile or higher standard deviation, and then 40% would be more along a safe line.
So this would be, so if we went back a step, this would be in that hope so, and this would be in the no so. Kind of.
Kind of, yeah. That's the concept.
Okay. Now you said I asked, is it a rule of thumb? Because for some folks, it's just a starting point of a conversation, though, right?
Well, yes, and the reason that we look at this type of a risk profile is because the closer we get to retirement, the less time we have to let that money grow. Because when we get into retirement, we're probably going to have to take some out for income or RMD or maybe that vacation you wanted to take, that cruise to Alaska.
That would be delightful.
So we have to make sure that that money is not tampered by a down market.
So what do you see right now as a side question? So you were working with clients back in 2008 when we had the Great Recession. We've had a pullback here recently and inflation. Do you see people less inclined to have as much at risk, or are they gravitating towards the safe? Or
it's interesting. It's a really interesting question because for the last couple of years, of course, we've gone through COVID, and we've been expecting a correction. And with the amount of money that they put into the economy with the stimulus, it was pretty guaranteed that we would see some type of a correction. And I've been touting this. And many people listened to my words, and we've moved into safer zones. And many people said, oh, no, I'm reaching for the sky. And there's some sad stories out there right now just because they were not balanced for their age, the Rule 100, and they weren't balanced for the economy's headwinds that came on. So, I always work with a retiree in a very, very dampered standard deviation or low risk profile.
That's fascinating. So the Rule of 100, a great conversation. So first we talk about the hope so, the no so, to understand the different types. Then we go into the Rule of 100 to get a rough idea. And then you talk about in the book the next way of classifying money, which is so fascinating, which is the green, red, and yellow. So we're going to take this to and this is a great progression as a person is looking at their own money, like the book walks you through. So we're going to talk about now, we've looked at the hope so, no so. We've talked about the Rule of 100 as a rough idea. And now we're going to talk about that red, green, and yellow. So if you would snap your fingers again to clear the board, please. Now the next one we're going to talk about, you've got types of money in the book. And there's two main types. When people come to you, it really falls into these two categories. What are they?
Okay. So typically when we look at types of money, we put them under two headings. And we're looking at green money and red money. So that categorizes what type of money there is.
Okay, so very quickly, green money would be what?
Safer money. So
safer
money that's guaranteed, not affected by market loss or catastrophic acts.
Gotcha. And this is money that maybe they need right now, maybe later, because you talk about that in the book.
So it needs to be pretty liquid, right?
Okay. Okay. And then red money.
Well, that red money is typically the money that is affected by the market. So as we just saw with this market downturn, that money might have taken a loss, a large loss.
Okay, so to take us back to the top of our segment, so no so, hope so, and then we did the Rule of 100 to get an idea of
where
roughly,
they should be.
Kind of a starting point. But in discussion, we were talking off camera, and this isn't quite how you see people's money or what you do with their money.
No.
Walk us through what you do.
This is this is what we see as the client comes in. And so our goal is to basically we want to set up 3 buckets. Dennis, can you give me a bucket on that side?
I was hoping you'd ask. I'm going to do blue because I have the blue marker. I'll make mine a little bigger here.
Okay, good. All right. So basically, if we took that green and red money and put it into 3 buckets, basically it has 3 categories or 3 purposes. This is how we don't run out of money, and this is how we don't worry about market change.
Okay. I'm so curious. So what's going where?
So the first bucket, we're going to have emergency money.
Again, great penwomanship.
So this is the money that we could need right away. We might need that. The roof fell in, the tooth fell out, whatever. That's the money that we need right now.
Okay, that's green money.
It's green money.
Okay.
So this second bucket right here is income. Now, income can be Social Security, could be pensions,
Gotcha.
could be RMDs. You could have an income rider on an annuity that could generate income. So now we've got emergency fund and we've got our income fund.
Green and green.
Green and green,
Okay, so that pretty much leaves red then.
right? But what we're going to do with the red is we're actually going to turn that red into yellow.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. Now, what does that mean? That means that this money may be at risk, but it's going to be highly managed for that risk. So this could go up and down. That's how the market goes.
Sure.
But we don't have to worry about that because we have our emergency fund if we need money out of there, and we have our income solid. So we don't have to worry about taking money out of this account because when the markets are down and you take money out, it goes down even further. And if it goes down further, it takes more to get it back up. So if we can just leave this money alone and let it go, we've got everything taken care of. Of course, you can take the money out of there if you need it, but pretty much we've got you set up right there.
Okay, so emergency, income, green. This bucket is risk? Is that what, can we title that thing in?
Yes. So markets go up and markets go down.
Okay, I have a question about risk.
Okay.
Because risk is a scary word, but risk doesn't, because it's, so what's the difference between, we talked risk with red, but yellow, and the difference here is we're being guided, right? Educated risk or?
Yes. So this is the difference between driving down a road without a map and driving down a road with your GPS. So that GPS is going to tell you exactly where to go. That's what a fiduciary is supposed to do for you. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to guide you through the curves and the tight places that takes your money in places that you might not want it to go. So we need to make sure that instead of us going, we have a softer movement and we're going the same place.
Right.
So we're going to end up the same place.
So you can't as a fiduciary, you're making good, educated, analytical decisions. Because risk is inherent when you're looking for a reward, but you're just making what you bring to the table is better decisions.
There's a lot of things that go into risk besides just it's going up and down. There's correlation of assets. There's systematic risk. There's government risk. There are so many places that risk can place its ugly head. So by managing those, we can manage the up and down on that. Okay, and the closer you get to retirement, the more you need to manage that end result or how much risk is being taken.
Gotcha. That's so great. I mean, that is you see the word risk, it seems scary, but to go from red risk to yellow risk makes a whole lot of sense.
A little easier to stomach.
And with inflation, with what's going on with inflation, that's got to be very important to have some money over here.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, Janet, that was great, and it is so awesome to see concepts visually. I think that's really, really effective, and I love your 3-bucket approach. So here's what we're going to do, though. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to switch to the other studio, and we're going to talk about taxes. We are going to talk about a topic that a lot of people are very concerned about, long-term care, and then we're going to get your tips on how to find the right person for that second opinion.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, so you do not want to miss that. We'll see you on the other side of the break. And Jen, you want to take care of the cleaning?